hear the call to adventure, climb aboard or walk the plank. On the high seas, only those with the strength and spirit can survive. What mysteries lie beneath the waves? Treasure? Glory? Time to raise anchor and set sail. These are the tales of the White Springs Revenge.
We're going to pick up, and we are in Whitmore Cove, as we always are. Standing on the beach is Marshal Whitmore, and beside him are his two most loyal companions, Bori Bowman and Peelo. They stand shoulder to shoulder on the beach looking at the place they've built, the Whitmore Cove Marketplace, the Whitmore Resort and Hotel, the fleet of ships under his command. Approaching you, Captain Whitmore, dressed not in his normal fineries, but in that of a gentleman's officer of a navy, is the governor. And he steps forward to you and he says, "Marshal, it is about time. I am ready to serve as your admiral." And he reaches out and shakes your hand.
Admiral Governator, I am proud as any man to stand here with you today on a mission so great I would never have any lesser man than you by my side.
You keep fine company, Marshal. Today we will make Gloomis pay. And he shakes Bori's hand and he shakes Peelo's hand. And while he's shaking your hand, Peelo, he makes strong eye contact with you for a moment and then and gives you a really firm handshake.
I'm gonna be like, "How's Sharon doing?" I'm gonna give him a double hand. Like
He
put my
doubles
other
back
hand
with
around
his
him.
other hand, and his hands are much bigger than yours. And he pulls you in close and he says, "She's doing great. You should come over sometime." And then he winks at you.
He wants to
walks
watch.
away.
What did I get myself into?
So during the week, ships have just been pouring in. They've been bringing in bounty that they've plundered from Navy ships in the name of Whitmore and the White Springs Revenge. You've had influx of trade as most of the merchants have shifted to follow the governor, and your allies begin to arrive as these ships pull into port. First, a small local fishing ship pulls in, and off of it gets a little old wizened man who you know by the name of Warren, and he steps onto your docks.
Avast ye there, men! See that frail old wizard. Take notice, for he is a battle-hardened...
Wizard?
Wizard,
sir. Wizard, sir.
One of those magic-y doodad guys.
He's gonna be...
He's a hero of the Battle of Whitmore Cove.
You guys lose that battle?
We won. And I point over to the hotel, resort, and casino that is literally built out of the plundered ship.
Warren heard his name off in the distance, and you just see him like turn, and he has like a cat in his hand, and he just waves.
So as Warren approaches the captain, "Warren, good to see you. The time is nigh for Gloomis's downfall."
Yes. I can't wait. Battle is nigh.
"It's dangerous to go alone. Take this." And I pull out an orb, and as I hand the orb off to you, you feel the compulsion activate its power.
Okay.
Do you?
Yeah, I'm a magical guy, so I would definitely call on that urge.
Roll a D1000.
623.
First roll of the game is the Chaos Lord. Okay, can you roll a D12 for me?
6.
You activate the emerald, and as Marshall is standing there talking to you, blinks out of existence. 6 minutes, everyone is freaking the fuck out. And then when the 6 minutes expires, boom, he pops back in.
And so, yeah, just be careful with that orb.
You got it.
Kind of just tuck it away.
Captain,
Folds.
where did you go, Captain?
What are you talking about? I haven't left. What are you all staring at?
Nothing.
I look at you very careful and say, "You didn't see the old man in the lightning, did you?"
Always with the old man and the lightning.
I haven't moved.
Before
we move on, everybody can have a health potion, a bandages, and adventuring gear. And everybody gets a stun dagger. It's a dagger that you can use.
To stun people?
You get a 50-50 shot if they get stunned or not.
You slap them with a lightning stone that's on the end of a stick, and they have a chance to be stunned. So the next ship carrying one of your allies comes in. This ship has a certain darkness to it. Its paint is peeled off, its sails are tattered, and it brings a certain aura with it. And you realize that aura actually belongs to the man in armor who steps off onto your dock. And Darrio, you step back onto Whitmore Cove for the first time in some time. And the rain is gone. The sky is clear.
And there's a casino.
Yeah, as Darrio steps off, he's looking out into the sky and is just completely focused on the fact that there's no more rain and is looking at it inquisitive. And he turns and he sees Captain Whitmore and notices the death mark on him and says, I see you resolved your water issue, Captain Whitmore.
Mr. Darrio, always a pleasure. I didn't think that you would come. You didn't seem like the type that was for hire.
The job calls and I showed. And he sticks out his hand for a handshake.
Grasp it firmly and hand him his care package. And inside package, you feel the power of the stun dagger that has a bit of lightning stone in it. The same stone that we cleared a mine out. And it's all around. That energy is permeating throughout. There's a line of it in the sand, and Captain Whitmore has been putting it in everything and has
lightning poisoning.
You still feel that presence that was there when there was rain. It's not as strong as it was.
I think he looks at it and kind of turns it around in his hand, flips it a couple of times and says, I see you've been hard at work.
Progress sleeps for no man.
Indeed.
And as he says that, there's a team jumping off of a cliff with our flying gliders. They're practicing their mortar shots. And
yeah, you see him fly out over the bay, and there's a guy in like one of the longboats. You get off the side of a ship like a whaling boat, and he is trying to drop a sandbag into the boat that the guy's on. And you see him go by, and the guy yells, "Miss!" Also, in the care package that you got from Marshall includes a ceramic container. It's a fine dust.
I think before Marshall says anything, Darrio is like picking through the bag and notices it and opens it and immediately just goes, ha! And then tops it off and puts it back in the bag and says, I'm sure that'll come in handy later.
Be careful with that. Jeb's never been the same since.
Very good.
Please, make yourself at home. I have a line of credit available for you at the Whitmore Hotel and Casino.
As you look over towards the hotel and casino, you do see there is somehow a sign that is lit up in the shape of a mango. If this is not something you've seen before, it kind of looks like magical, but it is done mechanically.
Ain't she a beaut?
How do you achieve these things?
Oh, with one of these babies. And I pull out my pocket stone. I always have a little bit of lightning stone on me at all times. I tap it to like your armor and it goes a little bzzz.
I think Darrio just grabs it from his hand and then walks away while like investigating, touching it to different things.
On the trip you went on with him previously, you went to a mine that he was trying to secure, and this was what they were.
I think I also remember doing this exact same thing when we mined some and being curious about it and just like being okay with not having answers about it. Not having those answers is like still kind of plaguing Dario. Every time he sees it, he kind of picks it up and is just like, and he like touches it to his own armor a little bit more and like different posts on the dock and maybe even his own ship.
The next ally to arrive does not come on a ship, but comes directly out of the sea. As you see old Gregg, your husband, rise out of the ocean alongside Glib Glub, your liaison.
Glib Glub.
Marshall, you haven't written me.
Oh, Gregg.
Do you know how long it's been?
It's been a while. We've tried to reach you, but I was in Atlantis and I meant to call, but
really, you came by.
Yeah, but I didn't have much time. There was the lightning rod, and I was like,
this lightning rod, and then I'll just kind of hold it.
Well,
out.
you remember that cult? Remember that cult? Yeah,
we've been dealing with them. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I dealt with it. It. It's dealt with.
We've been real busy, okay? He defeated the boot. That he did.
Who's this guy?
Who's that guy?
You know,
Is that the eel? I thought he'd be more eel-like.
hey,
He's a little smaller.
he's old Gregg from Atlanta, from East Street.
East Reach. It's not Atlantis proper. You
And,
can't even remember where we're from. Why did I marry you?
and he is my husband. He is the greatest diplomatic ally to Atlantis that we have. Please treat him
Yes.
with respect. I did not fuck the eel. I did not fuck the eel. I know you're thinking it, and it did not happen.
Old Greg's just gonna nod and be like, no, it's true, he didn't. And then he'll look disappointingly at Marshall.
I want to write a new verse to the song about Captain Whitmore not being able to get it up.
I really thought y'all was running a rig on me.
You did learn from the people who were guarding the rod in Atlantis, old Gregg. They gave it to you because Marshall is an ally, but they were like really tentative about it and impressed upon you that misusage of this item could tear a hole in reality as we know it, and that you should be very careful when using it.
Oh,
So I
Glib
don't
Glub,
trust
you
Marshall
brought
with
the
it. Got it.
Sparky stick.
Glib Glub, no, we're taking care of it. It's okay. Have
Bring
the
it over
instructions.
here.
No, it's okay. It's okay. This is considered a marriage.
It
gift
looks
for-
even
for-
more magnificent
Yes.
above water.
Yes,
I just want to hold it.
you can touch it while I'm touching it.
You guys hold a rod like in between holding hands, and it's kind of cute.
I'm gonna get a side glass to Glib Glop.
I look over at Elo Peelo. See it now. I see it.
Glib Glub comes over to you, Peelo, because you can kind of understand each other, and he says, the group of warriors that Whitmore has requested are on standby whenever you need to call them into service. Atlantis stands with you.
I'm gonna get real close to him and then like whisper in his ear, "Das Boot," at like the fucking bar, and kind of wink, and then we're gonna go to the bar.
Okay, he like chuckles. He does like his fish laugh is like unsettling. It's like a like it's like a horrible sound. But you have come fond of it to some degree because he's after that night of getting him hammered. And then another ship comes in. This ship is clearly not from these waters. It is a ship that's probably sailed from the mainland, from far. As it docks up, a very small humanoid figure steps out with a very long rifle, and you realize that it is your friend Smoky Slim, the gnomish bounty hunter, who has just stepped onto your docks.
Slim.
Blows.
I like what you've done with the place.
Aren't you a sight for sore eyes?
Indeed, I always am.
I must ask, Mr. Slim, are you ready for the hunt?
I'm offended that you must ask.
Oh, this will be the hunt of the century.
3 centuries.
Perhaps you'll get your own song one day.
You get the care package from Marshall's men, and in there is a magical scroll.
Did everybody get their gift bags? Sir, mine's just filled with rain.
Interest.
You see, this place has changed when the last time you were here, Smoky. It's not raining anymore. And
Yeah.
there is a business, like a whole hotel built out of a shipwreck in the middle of the bay area. You also probably see Darrio wandering around static shocking things.
Well, Mr. Slim, make yourself at home here at Whitmore Cove. You know you're always welcome. And on top of his care package, I give him 500 gold.
Any chance we can get the snow back?
There might be a wizard hobbling around here who might want to help you out.
Did someone call for a wizard?
And I'm gonna alter reality and try to conjure up some sort of snowstorm, a contained snow globe effect. 11.
Oh, then that totally happens. Like right where you got the three viewers standing, starts to whirl like a slow, gentle snow.
Ta-da!
This is how I remember the place.
And he gets pelted in the back of the head with a snowball.
He like stops, turns slowly, picks up a handful of snow. The hunt is on. Scurries around.
All right, everybody's in the snowball fight. Roll dexterity.
Wait,
So you guys are all getting hit with snowballs and stuff, but there's no clear winner, but there is a clear loser. Marshall is hit by more snowballs than anyone else, and he's standing there, and his outfit is now soaking wet.
Men, Jeb, help me, defend your captain.
Jeb and the guys are laughing. And after the snowball fight winds down, another ship enters the bay of Whitmore Cove. And as it's coming through the slip of water, just about as you can see it, you can also hear it. And it is because every man on that ship is singing the song, is singing the ballad of Marshall Whitmore. And they are led in full chorus as the ship comes into dock. And as it docks and the revelry dies down and everyone steps off the ship, you see your old friend, the author of the tune originally, Brodie the Bard.
I never heard such a beautiful chorus in all my days. As he wipes a tear of joy away from his eye after hearing such a wonderful rendition, Captain Whitmore's song.
Well, thank you, Cap. Thank you. It comes from a great source. And it's really all about the process for me, but I really appreciate that you were moved. So where's my room? I understand I'm here for a gig.
Aye, the gig be in the heart of Whitmore Manor, in the heart of Wright Springs, but I must say, the venue already has a tenant.
Have you ever played a rebellion before?
I'm sorry, I don't understand. I was discharged from your service, Captain Whitmore. I'm a musician.
He be a
looks
great commander of men.
And we'll need to keep their spirits up, of course.
Going to war be a difficult thing.
So we're right back at the beginning of this whole cycle. All right. Okay.
Don't make me regret letting you live now. Remember the generosity of Captain Marshall Whitmore, allowing you to leave my service on such peaceful terms. Arr.
Deckard takes off his sunglasses. He's also like gained 40 pounds, women on either side of him. But you start to see that the new confidence, like the star aspects, start to wither away as he snaps right back into traumatized NPC. And he like pushes the people away from it. I said, yes, Captain. I understand. Thank you, Captain. Thank you.
I told you when we first met you I had a mission. And that mission is to defeat Prince Gloomis and reclaim my land. And today's the day I intend to complete it.
Captain, I will write the best, most resounding finale based off of your heroic deeds. I'm sorry. Thank you. I'm sorry. Thank you. I'm sorry.
Well, see that you do now. Make yourself at home at the Whitmore Hotel and Casino. You know, I was thinking we need a jingle. We need to get the word out there about the hotel and casino and resort and spa.
Reach out to my manager and we'll collaborate on something. That sounds great.
Well, I hand over your care package, and in it is a pair of magic brushes and paints. I don't have any use for these. Perhaps an artistic type such as yourself will find a use of these.
Captain, you've never given me a gift before. Thank you so much.
I just wanted to return in kind as I pull out the whistle, and I blow the whistle, and one of my men comes over with your care package.
I recognize him. It was my old bunkmate from being in your original crew, and I take it and I go off and connect with my old workmates.
As you walk away with the old bunkmate, he says, "Why'd you have to give him that fucking whistle? Oh my God, we hear that. Oh,
I thought it was funny. I'm so sorry, dude."
At that, old Gregg's gonna walk up to the bard and be like, "So I've got some notes about this verse with the eel."
Go fuck yourself.
Those are the notes, actually.
So you guys spend the next day preparing or partying, reuniting, familiarizing yourself with new members of the party that you don't know, hearing Smoky Slim tell tales of hunting crazy beasts, and Darrio saying cryptic things about death, and old Gregg snarking off about how annoying surface dwellers are, and Warren rambling about whatever mad scientist bullshit he's been working on for the last few months. But you guys bond together and form the A-Team. You are the crew. Your goal in the mission plan is to be the group that takes out Gloomis, does the deed. You are all called to ride with Whitmore and go into the belly of the beast. So over the evening, the plan kind of gets laid out. You hear about the governor who's around. You may have met him. He is a very small, tall man who is very handsome and dressed impeccably and commands respect. And he is taking command of the fleet. He has got his ships. He's got the support of a bunch of free merchants who have joined his fleet, and then the ships that are Whitmore's that he has governance over. You also, if you haven't already, probably meet Boop, another gnome, a quirky gnomish mage who is building flying machines and other dangerous apparatuses using the lightning stone. And you'd meet some of the Atlanteans. The Atlanteans that show up with Gregg and Glib are not your normal Atlanteans you guys have met, like the bureaucratic type. These are warriors. One of them rides a large eel-like creature that has a really nasty disposition. And these are buff-ass fishmen who carry trident. And they are there to provide support from under the sea. Oh, you would meet Bori's children. Bori has 5 sons, and you meet 4 of them. You meet Corey, the blacksmith, and Tori, the shipwright, and Maury, the fisherman, and Rory, who owns a tavern you may have heard of in the area called the Pig and Whistle. You hear tales of Whitmore and the group's camaraderie with the other islands, something about a boy who became mayor that's running a blockade, and men from Devil's Field, where the Pig and Whistle is, who've sworn to help Whitmore because he freed them from Imperials. Ruses that have been played on Graveslammer to try to make sure the fleet is not there when you guys make landfall.
Mandatory crew meeting. All hands gather in the bar. And
Hey, my boys, it's so good to see you. So glad you could make it. I appreciate your willingness to help your old father out.
Tori steps forward and says, anything for you, Pop. You know we've always admired you, except for Bill, but that's all right.
Ah, Bill, lost soul.
Yeah, I never really found the ocean in his heart.
Rory, line up the boots. All the boots we have.
Rory smiles and he's like, I had your little gnomish friend make me a few more. And he pulls out several boots that are all like identical clones, Boop like summoned into reality. And you guys see these glass-shaped boots lined up on the counter, one for every single one of you. And they are filled with some kind of mead like grog to the top.
Any man here be brave enough to sail with the likes of Captain Marshall Whitmore? Our contract only has one condition. He must conquer the boot.
Old Gregg requests Bailey's in his shoe.
Rory nods and hits it with a shot of creamy white liqueur.
And as a show of leadership, I down my boot.
Roll dexterity and then constitution.
8 and 4.
And you see Marshall, he picks up the boot and he does like a special move that is trying to get the boot down his gullet without a lot of foam. And he kind of splashes it. So you do see some foam well up at the top. And you hear a few other people that have seen the boot before go, oh. And then Marshall slams it all down like in one big chug. And then there's this pause. And then this gurgling in his stomach. And then he just spews foam all over the bar. And everyone cackles in hysteria. His men in particular.
Yeah, you're really looking bad in front of your crew, man. First the snowball fight, now this.
Rory steps forward and says, who's next?
Smoky Slim will always hit the boot. 12 on the deck, 5 on the con.
So you see Smoky Slim, and he sort of noted the move Marshall does, but does it cleaner. And people are,
Spin
oh, it slams down in his gut. And you all look down at this little gnomish man who stands proudly for a moment. And then beer just oozes out of his face, out of his nose, and out of his mouth as he is just too small to contain it all.
I continue to stand there, though.
Rory looks expectantly at the rest of the group. Who else? I poured one.
Take mine before it congeals.
Okay.
Yeah.
7 on dexterity. 7 on constitution.
So you see the eel man, old Gregg, step up, and he tries to do the move, and he kind of does it okay like Marshall, and there's some foam, and he slams it all down, and there's this pause, and then he lets out a large belch, but holds it down, and everyone cheers. But for the rest of the evening, Gregg, your stomach is like upset. Like you have bubble. And you're kind of
I'm not used to this pressure. I need more of it.
Yeah, exactly. You're like holding it down. Like it wants to come back up. But you hold it. Rory says, oh, an Atlantean who can hold his liquor. And he looks over at Glub.
You know, your mom was almost an Atlantean.
One of your sons just like shakes his head. Who's next?
Darrio walks up not wanting to be last, and he walks up with intent and grabs the boot, pulls it up from the table, and I rolled a 13 for Dex, but I only rolled a 5 for my con.
You slam it down, and there's the pause, and everyone's like, oh, good form. And then you feel this belch coming, and you go to let it out, and it starts as a belch, but it just keeps coming until you spew up most of the beer back all over yourself in the bar in front of you.
Aha, a man who conquers death and yet can't conquer the boot.
Darrio reaches for his blade and then turns to see that it's Whitmore that says it. And he goes, and walks away, grabbing his tummy. Definitely doing the belly rub while walking away.
Who's next? Says Rory as he pulls up another boot.
This may be the last time I can do the boot without my son's present. Watch your old man succeed where others have failed. 13. And that's 11.
You see Bori Bowman step up. He does the technique perfectly. He makes it look easy, and he slams it down, lets out a casual little and is totally fine. And all his sons start slapping him on the back like, good job, Pops. Nice job. And the other seamen are like very approving because Bori sort of represents them. So a lot of the seamen type are like, yeah, he's one of ours.
What can I say? I love seamen. Seamen love me.
And Rory holds up the next one. There's a few of you left. Who else is stepping up?
Oh, that looks like fun.
And so I go grab one, and then I'm going to use a cantrip to like spin the liquid in the mug and then try to pound it like that.
Are you trying to use a different roll than dexterity?
Yeah, I want to try to use like my intelligence. That is a 13.
So that works. You get it tornadoing around in the boot.
Ooh, that's a 5.
So you see the old man, he's like levitating the boot, and it's spinning, and it's all dramatic, and it turns, and the booze just slams him in the face, and then immediately comes right back up. It's like, and it's all, he's like covered in beer.
That's what you get when you try to hornswoggle the boot.
My bad.
2 left, I believe.
Deckard will walk up to one kind of shyly, but his recent years of fame have provided him a lot of experience with alcohol. So he'll grab the boot and try to replicate the move as best as he saw it. 12 for the dex and 9 for the con.
9 for the con. So you slam it down well, and there's limited foam, and you can feel it moving in your belly, but you're able to hold it down. It's a little uncomfortable, but you hold it down, and people are like, yeah, rock star, fucking rock star, this guy.
I get some side people to start singing a drinking jig with me.
What do you do with the drunk? And then Rory looks at Mr. Peelo.
I want to try to convince him that I already took it.
Just him in the room full of people.
Yeah, they're all drunk. They want to know. Half of them are puking on themselves.
Oh, charisma.
Yeah, I already took it. I was like one of the first ones to go.
And he looks at you sideways.
That's a 10.
And then he's like, all right. And the governor steps forward and says, I'll take this one. He takes it, and he just fucking slams the whole thing down. No technique, just all the beer foam, all of it, and he just inhales it all and burps and then walks away confidently as though it has no effect.
Now all ye rest up, for on the morrow we go to battle.
And you all retire for the evening into rooms you've been provided, or pass out drunk on the beach, whatever floats your boat.
As we're walking away, I'm talking to Darrio.
So you take the lightning stone and you put it up your butt, and it gives you a nice little zap.
And Darrio looks at him and looks at his butt and says, how good a scientist are you?
I've done some tinkering,
And he grabs his wrist and puts the stone into his hand and walks away while like pulling his sheath off of like the sheath of his sword off of his back, because he's like getting ready to go, like already getting ready to be laying down. He just pulls the sword off his back and he says, and waves him off. Just keeps stumbling away.
So, Marshall, are we sharing a bed, or do we have different rooms?
Well, you see, I don't sleep.
You don't love me anymore.
If you want the bed in the main house, I'm usually on the cot on the White Springs River. I don't see. You wouldn't find me.
I'll go sleep with Glib Glib. Good night. I'll just walk off.
Buddy, my dear. I fish people.
So the next day arrives, and there is a small ship that your team is being loaded onto. Not one of Whitmore's ships, a small merchant vessel, which is captained by Bori's sons, has secured this ship for us. And it is dressed up to look the most average merchant ship. There's no guns on it. It's designed to slip in. And you are all loaded onto this ship. Your team, your equipment, the retainers that Marshall holds closest.
Here's what we can do. We can hide any extra equipment we need in all of the wine and rum barrels and crates.
But Bori, these are full of rum and wine.
Oh man, we're gonna have to dump this out.
As you say that, sailors look at you like you're fucking crazy.
Go put it away inside the casino for now. Come on, guys, empty this out. Let's go. Dump.
Yeah. All right. They bring you some empty barrels and move off some of the barrels full of booze.
So this note I got from Bill will allow us to get through unchecked by any royal guard. So all we got to do is get in there. It will be up to you, Captain, on when we make our announcement, I guess.
Oh, we know Peelo will be the one making all the noise.
From what I gather, we're supposed to deliver these crates and these barrels into the storage in the keep. So theoretically, we could bring as many of these things in, right? And then we could attack.
Excellent plan, Mr. Bowman.
This is kind of my old thinking. We could get 2 gnomes per barrel.
I said, Mr. Bowman, you're in charge of logistics. I'm just here to look good.
Boop appears and he says, Marshal, before you leave, you'll need these. The little gnome wizard man comes over and he gives you 3 stones. These are signaling stones. You can activate them and they will make these other ones blink. I will give 1 to the Atlanteans, 1 to the Governator, and I will keep 1 to manage the flyers with. If you activate the stone, that particular group will try and move on the enemy. So that way you have some command over your Navy and your Atlantean support team and your air support.
So this will make it really easy if you wanted to do a surprise attack and then time the counterattack. The counterattack.
Countering their counter.
Definitely 2 per barrel. See how tall he is?
All right, I'm going to get off the ship now. And Boop leaves.
I don't know. He had a rather big head.
So you expect me to get in there? And I point at an empty barrel.
Well, I mean, you're pretty recognizable, but maybe you could wear a disguise. What I'm saying is we load these barrels with weapons and explosives, things we're going to need to fight how many people they keep at the keep? That many people. Things we're going to need to kill that many people. We can probably fit a few more men in there to avoid suspicion, but I mean, they don't know how many men it takes to unload some wine crates, right? It's for the king.
We're blowing up the castle?
Wait. That's
your
my
castle.
home.
We don't want to blow up the castle.
Not Whitmore Manor. That dastard Prince Gloomis is in my home. So says our inside source on this magic stone messaging thing. Who is this, by the way? Who have we been talking to? Do we even know who this is?
I think I might have an idea.
What do they have to say about our plan?
I'm going to call my informant, tell him to order some wine, barrels and barrels of wine, and we'll sneak on in. What do you think, old man? I look at Bori.
Yeah, that was the plan. Let's go.
So on the ship, we'll say you have actual barrels of booze. Then you have empty barrels you can put whatever you want in, and then you have barrels full of explosives and lightning stuff. Everything is loaded onto this small vessel, and all the other vessels have gathered around, and some of them are out at sea at the end of the cove. And before you set sail, one of your men steps forward and starts calling all the men around, and all the men gather around, all your sailors and mercenaries, the crew of the Mango and the Stony Baloney and the White Springs Revenge, and the Governor and some of his captains are gathered around, and people of the town that have come to call Whitmore Cove home and work in the market and live in the plaza and go to the casino. And they all start to gather around. Mr. Whitcomb steps forward and says, Marshal, we have something for you. And one of your retainers comes forward with a large hat box. He pulls off the top of the hat box, and you guys see the most overly adorned, gaudy, ridiculous-looking admiral's hat with large feather plumage and bright colors and emblems of a mango and a lightning bolt embroidered into the stitching. Mr. Whitcomb picks it up and very gingerly hands it to you.
I put it on, and I feel overwhelmed with the emotions of having all of these people around and my men with me through thick and thin. And I start singing the song. And they call me Great Whitmore with a fancy new hat. And I write a whole verse about how great the hat.
You write the verse and everyone is singing it. and cheering you on and wishing you Godspeed and good luck. After this short moment of revelry, everyone gets giddy energy for this day of potential great violence. And everyone runs off to do their duties as you guys set sail on this small merchant ship toward White Springs.
Farewell, Mr. Whitacombe. Don't let the place fall apart while I'm gone.
Gives you a deep, respectful bow. We have entered the first phase. To sail to White Springs, we're going to make a perilous journey, y'all. You have so many players to choose from.
Who has the best
Captain,
wisdom?
please assign roles for the perilous journey.
I'm going to pick old Gregg to trailblaze, and Smoky Slim to be lookout, and Warren on ration.
Wisdom.
Double sixes.
The finest rations for all.
11.
7.
On this trip, it's not very long. Warren uses his magic to make a few mangoes feed the whole crew, and it is the best mango chutney you've ever had. You have a clear, direct path. You know where you're going, and old Gregg knows the waters and guides the ship with ease towards the direction. Smoky, you're able to spot out in the distance naval ships that are making stops of any ships coming towards White Springs. You can see them off in the distance boarding another ship.
Captain, seems to be a blockade of some sort.
Avoid at any cost. We can't be discovered.
Think I can hit them from here.
Close her up, lift the sails, and lay her in iron.
Aye.
I have an idea, and I would like to use Road to Perdition to summon a supernatural darkness into an area I can see until you use this move again or dismiss it. And I would just like to engulf this ship while we pass by it. This blockade. It says when you draw upon the unholy power in your dark blade, choose one of the following effects, and then roll plus charisma. On a hit, you achieve your desired effect. On a 7 to 9, either spend torment or lose HP equal to the higher of the 2 dice rolled, ignoring armor. So I'm going for it. I rolled a 10.
So the darkness pools out from Darrio, enveloping the ship, and like a chunk of the sea is eerily dark, and you lose sight of that other vessel. Old Gregg, commanding the helmsman, does not need to see to know which way the waters. And you guys
know these waters.
Slip into past the blockade of White Springs and emerge from the darkness on the other side, and you can see the port of White Springs from here. The port is the largest port in the area. It is sizable. There are many buildings here around the port area, warehouse structures, clearly used for storage of goods, and a shipyard. As it rolls back from there, you can see the rest of the town that sprawls back from that point. And sort of up on a hill, far back in the distance, you can barely see it from here, but there is one grand manor standing overlooking the all of White Springs. It's the first time you've seen it, Marshall, since you left.
What has he done to the place? It's got a new Imperial paint job. He's got his banners draping all over it. A disgrace to the Whitmore name.
Tori looks to you and says, Whitmore, do you want me to just pull into a regular merchant slip, or are we trying to do something fancy?
Fancy, you say? Am I not the fanciest of captains?
He shrugs. He says, that is a pretty fancy hat, sir.
Sir, slight suggestion. If you're going to wear your hat, you may want to go below deck to avoid suspicion. We're supposed to play off as just simple merchants delivering something to the king.
It does have the Whitmore crest on it, sir.
Aye, fair point. I'll be below deck. You take care of landing. I'll be polishing my hat.
You guys pull in and you set anchor. Immediately standing on the dock is a man dressed in uniform with a clipboard ready to start doing whatever his bureaucratic job is.
Hello, sir. How do you do today?
He looks up at you and he says, I'm fine. What is your business here?
We've got a delivery for the castle. And I have this little scroll in my hand.
And he looks at you oddly and says, castle, and takes the scroll from you. The scroll on it says that this is a shipment that needs to be rushed directly to Whitmore Manor. And he checks the seal and it's legit. He looks you up and down and says, usually important packages are brought in on our own Navy vessels. This is quite out of the ordinary.
This is special mango rum, and it goes bad very quickly, and you wouldn't want Gloomis to miss out on this hot new item, would you?
Roll charisma.
Let me roll 8. I'm gonna just give you the background. Like, this is some of the finest, I'm just agreeing with him and like, yeah, it would go so bad, it would stink this whole place up. But right now it's perfect. It's the best.
I rolled a 9.
I rolled a 7.
Have you ever smelt a bad mango?
He sort of shudders at that thought. All right. What's the name of your vessel?
The main room. We gotta get going. This is gonna go fast.
I need at least the name of the vessel and the name of the captain. I have your cargo, mango rum. Destination. What is the name of the vessel?
Pie rat.
Pie rat?
Hunter.
Yeah.
That's Captain Hunt over there.
Oh,
Captain Hunt over there.
Captain Hunt.
Pie
All
rat.
right.
Get it? It's like a play on words. Yeah. Michael Hunt. Michael
I
Hunt.
don't know why you would want a rat pie, but all right. He writes down this information and then directs you. All right, you can unload your cargo in this loading zone, and gestures over to a space outside one of the warehouses. And then he walks away to continue doing his job.
Well, Gregg's going to come up to the surface and be like,
Let's
psst, psst, should we go up to the manor and do some reconnaissance? We clearly can't walk the streets.
We can. We did get custom-made uniforms for all of us. That should have been your care package as well.
Fit for the
Nope.
fishmen that they totally see daily here, yes?
I think they gave you robes or something. Like you're a monk, imperial monk. I swear.
I imagine we're all below deck, like a
Yeah.
bunch of us, like just shoulder to shoulder people. So we gotta start unloading this stuff.
Warren's inside one of the barrels, crammed in a barrel, just hiding with his orb.
I grab a barrel and flip it on its side and start rolling it out
Is that what you're telling everybody to do, Bori?
while poking holes to the guys wearing uniforms right now. I think there's been a mix-up in plans. If you're in that team, you need to not be carrying barrels.
I assume everyone is on board with what Bori asks them to do. First, some of the Navy men start grabbing barrels. You guys have to start doing it. And you sort of fireman out all these barrels and start setting them in this loading zone. Marshall, are you moving barrels?
Me and my men are dressed up in military garb, and I put my hat in one of the barrels, and we're working together to get all this cargo off the ship.
Smoky
This is
Slim
just-
is supervising.
Heeding Bori's advice about trying to remain inconspicuous, which is really tough for him to do.
I mean, you guys are a little conspicuous in a general sense, even enough. You're sort of a ragtag group to have a gnome and a giant armored guy and an eccentric captain and a fish person. You are a little naturally conspicuous. The man at the dock looks at you guys sideways a little bit, but then goes about his business because he's already checked your work. And as you're moving stuff, a person steps forward to somebody in the party as you guys are sort of unloading and doesn't directly look at you, but kind of whispers, "More."
What? Who? Me? No.
Shh, shh. And he walks inside the storeroom, and as he's walking away, he drops a little piece of paper on the ground, like in front of you. And it just has a little map, some alleyway away from the dock a little bit, and it says, "Meet me here."
As we're unloading, I will send a reconnaissance team to that location. All right, men, secure the perimeter, and I break off from unloading duties.
I'm going to go with him.
Is anyone else going with them?
I've got to go get us a wagon. We didn't get a wagon.
So who wants to go with Bori to secure a wagon?
If there's a way out of manual labor, Brodie's taking it.
Brodie, you're a sight for sore eyes.
Missed you too, bud.
So Whitmore, you get to the back alley, and there is this person that they pull down their cowl. It's a older woman, and she says, "You've got a lot of nerve showing your face here, Whitmore. You know he will kill you on sight."
Not if I see him first.
She smiles at that, and she says, "Well, I assume you're here because you have a plan.
I always had a
here that are
plan.
still loyal to your family name."
I mean, who wouldn't be? I'm pretty great. Who are you, by the way? Do I know you?
You do? You do know me. You were but a wee child, but I was your caretaker for a period of time. Your
Yeah.
parents helped me get an education, took me off the street.
Lady Gladys.
I'm surprised you remember. You were but a wee.
I never forget a snaz like that.
I don't know what your plan is, but I will try to use my connections to help you however I can.
Ye know these estates better than anyone.
Do.
Things may go south in there. I may need a means of escaping. I'm counting on you to secure me an emergency exit. If not for me, but for me men and for me crew.
She's like, I think I can help. If there's anything else I can do, let me know. And then we're going to cut back to Brodie and Bori. You're standing in the middle of the dock area. There is some bustle as ships are being unloaded. There are wagons coming and going as people are going to different warehouses and storerooms.
I guess we're going to need to identify a place that sells some wagons.
So there is a place, there's a guy who's putting together wagons, and there is a stable.
Hello, good sir. I'm in need of a wagon.
Oh, a wagon, you say? I build the finest wagons.
Is your work known?
Yes, in the mainland where I am from, my work is known far and wide. I am a great carpenter and blacksmith.
So Prince Gloomis must use you exclusively.
I mean, I have certainly made many a wagon for the military since they've been here and the Navy. I don't know about it exclusively. But...
Because I kind of briefly hold up this paper, and it looks that paper looks kind of fancy. I exclusively work for Gloomis, you see. Oh. And I need a wagon to get his exclusive goods up to quickly as possible.
All right.
I could put in a good word for you if you could help us in this exchange.
Brodie have bonds with Bori? God,
I do. I certainly do. This is not my first adventure with Bori. And I'll be complimenting the work and wow, yeah, glorious. And I rolled a 9 for aid.
From what I know about Gloomis is he loves a nice wagon. He uses them in racing, I believe.
Interesting. And this guy looks at the two of you and says, "You're a little rough around the edges to work for the prince, but I guess so go it in these waters. I will have one done within the next few minutes. Let me make sure it is all spiffed up for you, and I'll cut you a deal. How about we'll call it an even 100 coin?"
Sounds great. Pay the man, and I tap you on the shoulder, and I walk away.
Do I have money?
You know that Whitmore has a lot of money all the time. Do you have money?
Yeah, I thought you're like rich now.
That's with my agent and my bank. I'm sure. While he's not looking, I'm going to pick up a piece of wood on the side and paint a sack of gold.
You paint 100 gold's worth of.
I create 100 counterfeit gold and give it to the weapon.
Well, when you pull it open and it summons into reality the sack and all, it seems real.
Great.
He happily accepts them.
I look at my brush and paints with newfound appreciation and hold them to my heart and tuck them into my vest. Pleasure, all mine, all my pleasure. Thank you.
So you go talk to the horse person. You walk into the stables. A younger man says, "Can I help you, sir?"
Yes, I need 2 horses for Prince Gloomis ASAP.
Yes, we have horses. 75 coin each, sir.
All right. Are they good horses?
Yes, sir. We only keep good horses, sir.
All right, and I'll pay you on the return.
Oh, I don't know about that, mister. I need the money up front.
Well, I'm only going up to the keeper back.
Roll charisma.
That's only 6.
He just shakes his head at you. You should probably go. So we'll cut back to Captain Whitmore is doing.
Lady Gladys, make your way to the manor and prepare those who are still loyal to me for siege. And I push the button to signal the governor.
So at that, somewhere out at sea, the governor flies flags and starts sailing his ships towards the blockade around White Spring. This soon results in cannons being fired in military action as your fleet goes to war with the partial fleet that is protecting White Spring. You guys all start to hear it in the distance, the thundering of cannons.
Come on, men, we've got work to do. And I run back to the ship and I find the barrel with Warren in it and I start rolling it up the hill.
So you guys all kind of gather around back together, getting to Whitmore Manor.
Can we scout ahead?
It's clear at first through the lower parts of the city, but as you get closer to Whitmore Manor, there is a few military encampments, including on the manor's front lawn. There is a camp, and they have men at them, and operations are happening.
Mr. Slim, what's the largest pack you've ever taken down?
13, my lucky number.
They have fortifications up ahead. Perhaps we could thin the herd.
Yes. And I scurry ahead.
So Slim just ran till he could see the first military person?
First, taking cover, hiding.
Roll
10.
So yeah, you're able to find a building. There's like houses in this area. You're able to get onto the porch on the second story balcony on a building and like take cover and get a clear view of the first encampment. As you look down at this encampment, you also hear the thundering of cannons in the distance getting louder. And at that, there's like more commotion in the camp. People start moving around. Stuff is now starting to happen as a result of whatever's happened.
They're already distracted and
Yeah, they're starting to rev up.
So I can stoke this fire.
Roll to shoot.
10.
Roll your damage.
Woo! Damage go. Oh no, I need more dice. D10 plus D6 plus D4 plus 2. 12 damage.
That's overkill. So you fire at this guy and it hits him right between the eyes and the back of his head like explodes out. And the guy that's like standing closest to him like sees him get his head blown off and starts like looking around to like figure out where the shot comes from and is freaking the fuck out and looks to somebody else who like walks out and says, "Was that a gunfire?" And they start looking around and the guy goes, I think it's a sniper. I think we're under attack." And you hear him start to get frantic and the two of them run like deeper into the camp to away from you to get cover.
Run, little piggies.
How are we getting to Whitmore Manor? You have a wagon now. Somebody brings
Yeah. We got a wagon. Yeah. Has anybody got their purse on them? We need some horses.
Bori, you know, this is the first time you've ever asked me for gold. You always shrug off. I give you a sack here, a pile there, a whole chest of gold, but ye always refuse.
It's in the other dinghy.
Take this gold and buy us some horses. I've got Smoky Slim making us a distraction. Should be able to make transport without raising too much suspicion. Hopefully they're more worried about being under
Before you
attack.
finish that sentence, I just start running faster than you physically possible for a man my age, but I've got the strength score to back it up to go get the horses.
You run back in and this guy looks at you. Not you again.
Yeah, here it is. Your horses now. Yeah, the fast ones.
He saddles you up 2 horses and takes the money and says, "All right, have a wonderful day." You guys triumphantly ride back in and I assume hitch them to the wagon.
Yes.
Which is ideally loaded with the barrels that we want at the manor.
Yeah, what barrels are we taking to the manor? You guys taking all the barrels? You guys just taking the explosive barrels? Taking the booze?
What are we loading, Captain?
Yeah, we've been gone. What'd you guys load?
We have 3 kegs of electric gunpowder, and that's it. That's what we brought.
So is that what we're doing? You're telling old Gregg to get in a barrel?
Yes. I'll change my tune to this being rums to highly classified artifacts that need to get to Gloomis right away.
Which is code for rum.
And then are you guys just trying to ride into...
That would explain the guards that we already have.
You're just going to try to ride on past military camps then? Is that the goal?
Right,
Yes.
because in my mind, right, we would have to pass through the camp that is now under attack.
Yeah.
We just scream that we're getting sniped at. So like we just have
We're all in danger here, yes.
Very good. As I hear these guys arguing about the plan, I am going to pull the sheath off my back and use Road to Perdition as we pass through the camp. I am going to don the visage of death, terrifying a target you can see. Anybody who stops us, that's the first person I'm going to kind of cast it on. Program more fear into this situation because they don't know where they're getting their shot at from.
Cool. I like that. Roll your charisma.
10.
So you guys start moving towards the first camp. You hear the gunfire from Smoky Slim.
What are they doing now?
Running around trying to organize a group of people into like an immediate squad to deal with the gunfire.
Who appears to be the leader?
There's an officer there yelling at people.
7. Yeah, I'm going to reduce my ammo by 1 on this one. Only 8 damage.
That's enough to just kill the average person. He's just wearing like an officer's uniform. He's not in armor.
Cool.
So you fire and it hits that guy. And he's yelling at somebody and then he takes a shot to the back and falls down to the ground. And the men that are there start to abandon that lower camp and start to run north, running towards the other encampments out in front of Whitmore Manor. You guys are able to pass through that area unimpeded. As you approach Whitmore Manor, you can see that there is a encampment directly on the front lawn. In that group is a person who stands out, a tall orcish woman clad in armor with a huge sword strapped to her back, an oversized, almost comically large blade, like Buster sword, strapped to her back. And she is barking orders. You can hear her voice faintly as you guys approach. Cleared the camp. of anyone who is going to stop you. Between you
Yep.
being menacing and the officer being killed, those people have all tried to retreat back to this upper camp. As you're approaching this camp,
I'd say we continue with confidence.
Arr.
Yeah, who's got the best charisma? And then I'll give aid.
And here's those papers.
Could I use heirloom, which is I just get to consult with the spirits inside of your signature weapon, and it'll give you insight relating to the current situation?
Is Darrio dressed kind of like, are you in the military? So the lie would be on to you to try to convince him that this is things that Gloomis needs to see himself directly.
I'm looking around the cart and the barrels and coming to terms with the fact that I'm probably going to be the one that has to talk to this person. I immediately address my blade and just say, what does she have to hear to let us pass?
roll charisma.
6.
So you your sword and you start to whisper to it and it starts to have like its magical effect. In that moment when you're about to speak to the sword, there is some rustling in the bushes that run along the roadside next to the party. And you all hear screamed, "Daunt's revenge!" And then there is several small grenade-like sized bombs, cartoon style, black spheres with fuses on them, are thrown towards the wagon. I need everybody to roll a defy danger.
Actually, what I'd like to do is maybe before anybody gets out of the barrel is I muscle the barrels out of the way and dive towards the bomb.
Take the attack for people who have rolled best.
I rolled 12. I'm taking my dexterity and flipping myself underneath the wagon.
I'll do the exact same thing that Bori's doing. I just follow him underneath there.
I look at you like I normally do, like, yeah, like we're Scooby and Shaggy hiding.
I rolled a 10. I'm kind of just gonna sit in my barrel and use magic to reinforce it, Niagara Falls style.
What is old Gregg doing?
Trying to not get shot, I suppose. Following everybody else. 9.
I'd like to defy danger using charisma because this is all happening in like split seconds. So if I see Darrio leaping in, I'm going to pull my mandolin and try to use arcane art on that split second just to sing like one chord of just fuck Daunt. And my arcane art. So my goal here is to send out like a sonic blast in that direction that is protective of Darrio.
Darrio, you're going to take the blast as you stand in front of these barrels as Gregg is trying to scatter out of one behind you. It explodes, but between the magical effect of Brodie and your thick layers of armor, you take no damage. You feel the shrapnel of the grenades and you take no damage. And immediately after the grenades explode and you guys kind of have a ringing in your ears, several men pop up from on the other side of the bushes, and they have a musket rifles. And those of you who know recognize them as the remainder of Daunt's men that were probably on the boat while you guys were killing Daunt. And
Darrio is now officially super hyped and loves to fight. And I think he says something that's like, I met death like Daunt, but death didn't want me. And he runs and starts attacking these guys because he sees these guys as a threat.
As you charge forward, you're going to get shot at by one of them because they have some range on you. So roll a defy danger and then go ahead and take your attack. You start to charge forward and you're charging one guy and you guys hear the pop in the distance of Smoky Slim's rifle. And the guy you were charging right in front of you drops to the floor dead. And you turn to the next guy and bring up your sword down upon him. Roll your damage.
4.
And as you come down, this guy thrusts you with the bayonet on the end of his rifle for 5 damage. Bring your sword down across him and gash him across the chest as he staggers back.
I'm going to stand in defense of the wagon.
Okay.
For a
That's your
10.
husband.
What are you doing, Bori?
I'm going to crawl out from under the wagon, jump up, pull out my cutlass and yell, no pray, no pay, lads, and just charge it like the first guy who's not one of us.
Cool. Roll defy danger. You're going to get shot at as you charge.
All right.
One pulls up a rifle to fire at you, and you just bob to the right, and the shot goes wide. Roll your hack and slash.
11. 9.
You leap over the bushes and tackle one guy to the floor as your sword sinks into his guts, and you pull it out, and he is left bleeding out on the ground.
I yell, cleave them to the brisket, lads.
I'm just going to run up to one guy and slap him with the lightning rod. I rolled a 12.
You get to roll your damage plus a d6, and it ignores armor, and there's a 50% chance to stun.
8.
You blast this guy with a bolt of lightning energy. You guys hear it, loud crackle, and this man is thrown back and hits the building that's behind the hedge and falls lifelessly to the floor.
Brodie
What,
screams.
How far is that lady with the huge sword? Well, she can hear me too, right? Can I get some aid from the bard? Does that work only that you said you have a +2 to aid?
So my arcane art makes my target receive more aid when someone else takes the aid action.
Oh.
They're better helped when I use that. However, I am a bard and I have words like cacophony in my skill set. So can I amplify him in some way? Magically, using my sound magic?
Using your sound. Which move are you using?
Yeah, I don't have one that does that. I do have a bond. I'm writing ballads about the adventures of Peelo. Well, I rolled a 9 for aid.
It's called noise music.
Cool, because that gives me a full success. First, I'm going to tell her to go away, and then I am going to make sure it doesn't consume me. It's going to be the first tag. The second tag I'm going to use is that she could hear me good from a far distance, a clear command. And then the third one I'm going to use is going to be the one that adds a second command. So I'm also going to tell her to go away and then stand still at the same time. Try to fuck with her head, see what happens.
All right, so you let out the... Right.
Right.
Your combat has drawn the attention of people in the camp. They are looking in this direction. But she looks directly at you, Mr. Peelo. And then she turns around and walks inside the manor. What's Warren doing?
I've been in the barrel this entire time. So I'm just going to pop off the top and go, chaos!
All right, roll a D1000.
771.
It's going to be a good one. I can feel it. 771. Feel this magical wave hit you, Warren, and you feel a lot of things all at once. You feel energized like you haven't since you were a youth. You also feel like you can smell things so much clearer. Like your sense of smell now, it's like vision. You can discern one thing from another in a way humanoids aren't normally capable of doing. You feel all the hair on your body grow a little bit, and you feel like a animalistic instinct, a yearning for the moon, and you feel like there's something deep inside you.
And it's daytime right now, right?
It's daytime right now. It's afternoon at earliest.
I kind of like wince at the sun a little bit and go back into the barrel.
You guys have murdered most of these contingents of Dot's men in one turn. They are defeated. The camp in front of you is without leadership and in a little bit of chaos.
Well, I wasn't expecting us to get this far, gentlemen. I'll be honest. I'm quite proud of us at this point. I say anything else we do from here on out is a win.
But the Siegfried lady is inside. Who else is in front of us?
There is just the men in that camp that are confused. Commanders walked away. There's some kind of gunfight happening in the street. The camp from below is now in chaos and deserted, and they can hear the roar of cannons in the distance. There is some confused individuals in that.
At this time, I'll push another signal for the flying machines to start bombing the local area.
I'd also like to add to the confusion by diverting into this crazed demonic whisper performance that is directed at the closest person that I can see, and I use my ability. It goes to 11. I got an 11. So on a 10 plus, the target attacks their nearest ally in range. And I'm going to start infighting inside the camp.
He pulls from his hip his short sword, and he then thrusts it into this other guy doesn't even notice. He is looking at what the fuck is happening, and you're walking towards him going, and then he just scuts him through the middle and slices out, and the other two dudes there go, whoa, what the fuck, and start pulling swords and like trying to shove his sword down. Chaos breaks out even further in this camp, and you guys easily waltz in to the property of Whitmore Manor. You guys can take the service entrance.
Give me a slip in the back way.
Or not.
Did you fail?
I rolled a 5.
Okay, so you go to look around the side of the building as you're looking for Lady Gladys. Coming out that side entrance, when you look, is General Hailstorm that Peelo had walked inside. She comes out that side exit right as you come around the building, and she turns and she makes like eye contact, and she squints her eyes in your general direction. You're both frozen in each other's look. Whitmore, and grabs the giant sword off her back.
Hailstorm! I turn tail and run.
She comes barreling around the corner.
Wherever you guys are hanging out, just ready for the next step, you just like see Whitmore come around the corner as, oh, she's coming.
Who, Captain?
The commander.
So you're standing there with the party as Whitmore comes running around from the corner of the building.
Oh, the big lady, big sword, she's coming. Let's go this way.
Darrio, his eyes get really big and he reaches into his bag and he pulls out the like ceramic container. Where is she coming from?
As you say that, she comes around the corner holding her giant blade, marching towards you.
Pops it open and just pours it in her face and then caps it in hoping of not losing it all at once.
You like throw it forward towards her face. Roll a defy danger as she also swings her giant sword at you. She has pretty big reach with it.
I rolled a 12. I think I just want to like punch her big sword swinging at me out of the way.
Yeah, you just bring up an armored thing and just slap it aside.
Boom.
She is not used to that. As you slap it aside, and she has a shocked look on her face as you shower her in this dust. She begins to cough and sneeze and choke. She is sneezing and grabbing at her throat. So she takes a -1 to do anything. So if I make you roll defy danger from her attack now, choking and like tears are streaming, and she says, "What are you doing to me?"
Yeah, Darrio turns and looks at Captain Whitmore and goes, Are we still running?
I turn around and take a look at the damage. It's this way. I go back to the servants and just like sidestepping around her as she's like coughing.
In that time, she's gonna try to hit Darrio with her sword. So you need to make another defy danger. She's swiping and you're just like casually blocking it aside with your armor, like you're toying with a child trying to hit you.
Do you happen to know who that is?
You don't know who this is?
No, I do. I'm just wondering if you do, because, I mean, she's like in charge. She's supposed to be the most fearsome warrior in all of the Imperial Army.
That is exactly what Darrio does. He just goes,
If you say so.
Well, Commander Heelstorm, you're not gonna like the verse about you in this song because, frankly, it's a little embarrassing.
I'll kill you!
Yeah, I think that this is the point where Darrio will also pull out his blade and strike at her. It's an 8.
You hit her, but in that instance, she also brings her sword into you. And you guys are just two giant people with giant swords hitting each other.
Like, my sword looks way cooler, right?
What's your damage roll?
9. I have sharp, +1 piercing.
You get through some of her armor as you swing into her with your dark blade, and she swings her giant sword into you as well, and she hits you for 6 damage, 1 piercing. And you guys are now slugging it out.
I wanted to do like a ranged volley, but I wanted to do alter reality fire on the powder that was thrown at her face and like ignite it. I have one complication tag that I have to add.
What's the complication tag?
Distorts the fabric of reality unexpectedly.
Got it. Roll your damage.
3.
You cast out and your magic ripples out from your fingertips and hits her face and ignites in flame, and you hear her scream, "Ah!" as she is burnt on the face. But the magic crackles around out of your control, and Gregg is attracted, and as it hits the rod, you feel like a presence from the rod, like both on your mind, but also into this reality. And there is like a whispering now in your brain that you can't quite understand, but it's back.
Guys, I think I need to zap someone.
Yeah, zap her.
That's going to be a 10 damage.
You blast her with the thing, but roll a defy danger for me, as in her flailing, her blade does come close to you.
7.
Okay, that's a mixed result. You're going to take a little bit of damage. You get scraped by her attack, and you take 3 damage. She's choking. She stops swinging the sword so effectively, and you can hear her, and she starts to lean over towards the ground as she is gasping for air. She's like not even effectively fighting you.
This seems like an unfair fight at this point. But yeah, there's no hunt here.
Marshall is trying to lead you guys into the building. So if you
Marshall
want to-
was trying to lead you. But
Let's follow Marshall, the captain.
as he was walking by and that rift in reality opened up, he is just kind of standing there. And he has lost all charisma and drive to do anything. And he's just kind of standing there where the rift.
So what's next, Captain?
What? I'm doing it! What?
We lost you there, Captain, for a second.
I'm right here.
What-
Where are you?
I'm just gonna start reciting Whitmore's favorite lines from the song that I know that are like, even if they're out of order, just so like to get them like kind of hyped up a little bit.
Yeah, all the ones about him being like a badass and nerves. of
Yeah,
steel.
I'm not singing them obviously because I don't want to be too loud, but I'm just like,
Right. I'm the best.
You got-
I'm not scared of
you
anything
got
or
this,
anyone.
Captain.
That's
Got
right.
this.
Where's
Yes,
Lady
Captain.
Gladys? She is our in.
You find her at that side entrance if you want to abandon this fight. Whitmore. And she holds the side door open and waves you in.
All right. If I were Prince Gloomis, I would be in the most fortified room in the house. My master bedroom.
I think I stand over her and look at it for a minute and decide if I want to kill her or if I just want to let her die. I take her sword.
And you guys all walk inside the building. So you guys
Through
slip
windows
in
and shit.
through the kitchen, and Smoky Slim pulls out his weapon and starts peering into the next room, which is the main hall, and there are stairs that lead up towards where Whitmore was speaking. Whitmore, you haven't been inside this manor in a very long time. It is pretty intense. Have flashbacks of your childhood, stealing baked goods from the cooks in this kitchen, and seeing that front hallway as you ascend the stairs towards the main quarter.
All those young maidens you trapped in your room.
You ascend the stairs. You come to the landing at the top, and there is the rooms into the main bedrooms and stuff. But there is sort of like this study area at the top that opens up to this big floor-to-ceiling window that goes all the way across the hallway. And you can see all of the land, which extends for a while. And there's some outbuildings out there. Also, like the family graveyard is out there. You can see the forest. And standing in this window is an elven man dressed like royalty. And he turns around to face you as the lot of you ascend the stairs. And he says, "You must be Captain Whitmore."
Of course I'm Captain Whitmore. Who else would I be? And I put my hand out and wait for Jeb to place my big-ass hat in my hand.
It takes a moment, and Gloomis is just patiently standing there waiting, and then he places the hat on your hands.
And then I dramatically put it on and tip it, "Milady."
And he looks at you and says, "I am quite impressed with you, I have to say. You have caused me a lot more trouble than I ever thought you could, which is ironic considering how easily your family folded."
Hey, that was mean, Captain.
You're gonna let him talk shit, honey?
I'm gonna pull out my pistol. I'm not gonna shoot him, but I'm gonna shoot above him and see what he does.
You pull out your pistol and shoot. He doesn't even bat an eye. Only putting holes in your own ceiling.
Better with the holes I make than the decorating you've been doing around here.
Oh yeah, you don't like it? It's the finest from the mainland, but I guess...
Oh, mainlanders don't know dick about interior design.
Please, this looks like some rednecks fell into money and built a house.
Well, that's what happened. You're just stating facts.
Perhaps I should state another one. You and your friends will not be getting out of here alive.
Is that so?
If you continue down this path. So I'm going to offer you an out. All of you, proven yourself. Come work for me. You can manage this territory, and I will come back triumphant to my father, the empire expanded, and you will be under the governance of king.
I think ye need to be a little more persuasive than that. These be my men, and these be my waters, and now you're in my house, on my lands, and you are only here because I allow you to do so.
He scoffs at the last statement. You couldn't have stopped me. You didn't stop. I waltzed right in here and took all of this. Casually. Hardly a man lost.
Yeah, with daddy's bankroll behind your purchases.
Please, you're one to talk. Clearly you were a child of privilege. I see there's no reasoning with you. He steps forward to you, and he holds his arms up. Do what you came to do, presenting himself.
Don't do it.
Do it.
Fuck him up.
He's
Shoot him. Shoot him. Rip his dick out.
I turn to my husband, and I say, "Darling, will you do this with me? Can we do this together?" And I put my hands on the lightning rod.
I'm gonna reach one hand out to his shoulder. I thought you'd never ask.
In the background, the pianissimo light strums of Captain Whitmore was the best, and he give arcane art to give you plus 3d4 to your next damage roll.
What? 3d4? No.
Yeah, I have vicious blast,
And it's gonna ignore armor.
It also gives him the aid thing, so the next time someone helps them, they get plus 2 to aid. So
It gets all of those? You don't have to choose?
So I was gonna roll deck the volley and then have old Gregg aid me.
Dum, bum, bum, dum, bum.
And effect, do you have the ability to choose multiple effects?
Yes, I have Eldritch Tomes from the top of the part, which is you can select 2 effects. And then I also have Vicious Cacophony, which leads into Vicious Blast, which is my level 6 level move. I was holding it for this moment.
What did you get to rod him?
9.
I got an
you're
11
also-
on aid.
So 10.
Yeah, now 11 because it's +2. The damage roll is your damage die plus a d6 for the lightning rod plus 3d4.
That's right. Yes, correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
17 damage.
This bolt lightning arcs out of the rod and strikes him in the chest. And where this burn mark should be, where you normally see like a burnt, like human flesh, there is this blackish purple smoke rising off his chest. The wound is seeping this blackish, and he smiles at you and says, "You'll have to do better than that." And then he rears back and tries to slug you, just straight punch you in the face, Marshall. Roll a defy danger.
One of my retainers sees this for 10.
So your retainer takes a cold clock for you, and then rolls out of the way.
Loyalty right
See,
there.
yeah, see that, Gloomis? That's what true loyalty means.
My glass
All right.
jar is yours.
I'll take a shot. 11, 18 damage.
Dario will follow that as well with Raven's Feast. By using Road to Perdition, I have an additional ranged attack where I can fire a pulse of dark energy from my blade. 13, and it does 5 damage.
You blast out this black arcane mist from your blade tip, and it strikes him. And where he is hit from the blast of this and from the gunfire, just oozes more of this black purple smoke. And he is cackling now.
Will leap into action, throwing myself fully into this guy because I am old. This is probably my final fight. 8.
So we trade damage.
8.
8 damage. And then you're going to take 5. Gloomis is standing there. He takes a slash from Bori, and then he just smacks him down with his fist. And he is now just oozing black smoke from everywhere. Like it is starting to obscure his form as it is pouring over.
Yeah, I'm gonna scream at him to stand still. That's a 7. What's
You
up?
reach out with your powers against him, and they seem to have no effect.
I'm going to use my alter magic and go full werewolf transmuting for changing substance, change into a werewolf, and then I'm going to go for like bite attack, and that's a 3 damage.
As you come in, kicks you, you also take 3 damage. You first bite something firm and then keep sinking, and you feel the smoke moving around you like his body is turning to sand. And then he laughs and says, "You fools." And his body pulses and then explodes in this dark energy. Everybody roll Defy Danger.
Dario stabs his sword into the ground and tries to like break up the like effect of this explosion.
Okay, 1 fail and 1 mixed result. So the fail, you were taking 7 damage, and the mixed result, you were taking 3. As this form explodes in this gaseousness and pelts all of you with its energy. And as it starts to settle, you look out, Whitmore, you step forward and you look out that window that's on the back of your house as the sun is setting. And you see the fog is starting to roll in from the forest, as it sometimes does in the evening. And you see a figure standing out in the graveyard of your dead relatives. And that figure is looking directly back at you. It is standing with a massive glowing green sword floating next to it, and his arms crossed.
Are they having a rave out there?
Am I the only one seeing this?
Gloomis is smoke.
The guy you all dealt a shitload of damage to exploded.
Oh, he's gone.
Exploded.
Aha! Good job, everybody. I knew you were the man up for the task.
Is it over?
I will step away from everybody as they're sort of celebrating and just whisper my blade, "What is this magic?"
And you hear the whisper of death back to you. And it says, "Magic born of shadow, magic of deception."
Deception. So is he still here? And that's when he would turn and look towards everybody to make sure that there's not any other imminent danger.
You're holding the sword and you look back to them, and there's no imminent danger. You have a weird feeling. You look back out that window and that figure is still staring. They're too far away to see their eyes, but you feel as though you have locked eyes with this person, and they are marked with death. And their mark is unique but familiar. And you double back and look back at Whitmore, and you realize that the mark on deaths of these two men are mirrors of each other. They are two conjoining halves that are not together.
Either can live while the other survive.
At that moment, charging up the stairs is Commander Heelstorm, face burnt red, eyes still watering from the coughing, sneezing juice, and she just screams in a rage and tries to tackle Darrio out the second story window. Roll a defy danger.
I rolled a 9, and it is my goal to just sidestep her.
You do start to sidestep her, but she is clear enough of sight to see it, and she reaches wide as she's coming and grabs you, and you two are both clutched together in a grapple and spinning towards the window, and the weight of the two of you slam into it, and you fall through the air. You hit the ground, but because you're holding on to each other, you do break each other's fall. You take 4. Both get the wind knocked out of you as you hit the ground in the back here. I'm gonna fucking kill you. And she tries to leap up on top of you and wrap her hands around your throat and begin to squeeze the life out of you.
Let me use my sleep scroll on Commander.
She falls asleep. She is on top of you, trying to reach for your throat, Darrio, and then you see her eyes flutter and then fall, and then she slumps to the ground.
I'm leaning over the balcony. Gosh, she's a feisty one, Darrio.
I've had better nights. And he starts to rustle his way up. I am very hurt.
At that moment, the figure in the distance with the floating green sword makes a subtle hand gesture that is probably imperceivable to you, all distracted by this. But you do see the green sword jut up into the air and strike the earth. And when it does, the earth quakes. Everyone roll defy danger. The earth is quaking and starting to split with cracks of green energy. Those of you who mixed, you take 3 damage, and if you failed, you take 6.
I bumped me noggin.
I'm gonna try to alter magic, keep the floor together, and keep everything as one piece without more magical explosions happening.
Counter magicking the magic.
That is a 10.
So you reach out with your magical energy and try to shield this part of the house and sort of your allies in hopes that this building doesn't drop.
I'm going to start heading towards the door.
So you guys head downstairs and meet Darrio outside in the backyard.
I'm going to draw my sword and just start charging at the thing that attacked us.
Bori pulls his sword and starts charging across this field.
I'll reactively start inspiring him to take his damage forward and a bonus to assists. 11.
You start to sing a song, and Bori, you were inspired by it as you charge forward.
I'm going to discern realities. What here is not what it appears to be.
You're pretty sure whatever you killed upstairs was not actually Prince.
Did it even die, or did it just change into this thing?
You feel like what you were looking at was more like an astral projection or a construct.
I would say I think I'd like to spout lore to see if I can determine how this thing's death and Captain Whitmore's death mark are related.
As Bori is charging across this field to this guy, and some of you are supporting him and some of you are taking scope of the battlefield, the figure disappears from where Bori is charging and reappears directly next to you, Darrio. And you guys all see him for real this time. The actual Prince Gloomis. He is not as fancy as the other one. He looks like he's dressed like a lab technician. He is also scarred. His face is burnt from unknown magical and alchemic activities gone awry. And he is much more villainous as he reaches out to Darrio with a black inky tentacle that comes out of his shadow and tries to suck the life. So you already failed. So you're just going to get hit by this because it's 7 damage. So it reaches out and it grabs onto you for a moment, and you feel it suck some of your life force. He's now by your party, and he's standing right next to Dart.
I think as I'm getting the life sucked out of me, I will attempt to use Road to Perdition and Don the Visage of Death to terrify my target.
You go to pull out the death mask that is that move. He just smiles back and said, I've already met death.
I'm going to shoot him in the head. 11.
So you fire and it hits him, and he looks at you and says, that one hurt. And he sneers at you.
Let's go zippy zap. 14.
Stop it.
Only 12, but it ignores armor.
Lightning arcs out and hits him. He's, Gah! I'm going to enjoy killing all of you. He's going to use the ancient language. Gloomis starts to speak that didgeridoo-like sound you've all heard from Elo Peelo. That whoa, 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 whoa. Everyone roll wisdom. If you failed, the ancient language is mesmerizing to you, and you do not get a turn next time. If you got a mixed result, you get a -1. His second action is the floating green sword slaps the earth again, and the earth quakes. Everyone make a defy danger. If you're still in the area around Warren's magic, I'll say you get a +1, trying to resist the effects of the earth.
I did fail.
You take 5 damage from the earth quaking at you, and this green energy rippling up through the cracks. And then if you got a mixed result, you're taking 2.
I'll shoot him. 19 damage.
Ow! Stop that.
I'll have your head on my wall.
I'm going to surround him with my men, and we're going to do a wavy sword octopus move. For 13.
And your men are doing the move where they all stand in a circle, except their blades are forced inward now.
I'm going to just come running straight at him with my rapier.
Bori is in the middle of the field. This guy teleports over to you guys and starts doing stuff. Bori turns around and starts running back towards the party to try and stab this guy.
Can I fire my flintlock at him? And
make sure you add 3d4 to your damage.
19 damage.
Guess we're going to zap him again.
Zap him, Gregg.
It is an 11. Let's get that damage. 7.
So he's going to choose to speak a different word in the ancient language directed just at Mr. Smoky Slim.
I'm going to spend a hold and take that onto myself. Whoa, whoa, whoa there, buddy boy. It's you and me fighting today.
All right, then you roll charisma, that's actually going to be a lot better. Captain's got pretty good charisma.
12.
You feel the ancient language start to pull at your mind, and you just think about the verses of the songs. You're able to block it out.
You're used to me trying to mess with your mind.
Darrio's in the fray, so let me do the thing. And I'm going to roll for Arcane Art to sing the tale of the Death Knight. That's not good. My spell works, but I draw unwanted attention, or my magic reverberates to other targets, affecting them as well, up to the GM. I'm going to heal him for 2d8, and then I'm also going to give him the forward damage.
Roll Defy Danger as the shadow darkness tentacles try to reach out.
Yeah, I'm going to use charisma to sing charm and spread lightheartedness through my... snake eyes, you guys. Snake eyes.
You take 4 damage. You see this energy that he takes from you. You feel it pull at your life force, and it restores him.
My magic goes through, but you can see that Deckard Brodie is a shell of the man with the joie de vivre that you saw earlier this morning. Darrio, you heal for 8, and the next time you roll damage, roll 3d4.
I think that Darrio is at this point pretty awestruck by the fact that he's witnessing dark magic and just defaults to his big sword being, at the end of the day, a big sword, despite all of the magic that it has. So I'm just going to hack and slash. It's an 11.
All right, show me some damage.
Yeah, he runs up, takes 1 big slash, and does 12 damage.
Warren, you see Brodie inspire Darrio, and Darrio swings his big sword in between the gaps in the defensive line that Marshall's men have taken. What are you doing?
Hold up big black orb.
Roll a D1000.
268.
You see Warren pull up the sphere and trigger its chaos energy, and magic swirls around him, and you see him shrink and shrink down until he is 6 inches tall. Maybe if you're not paying attention, it seems like he's disappeared because he's Pretty short.
I am going to roll aid to Slim, put his sniper rifle on my shoulder.
I climb up on his back. Better
I like
angle.
that. Anyways, I got 10. So you get +2 to it, dude. Let's do this.
So that makes it 11. 14 damage.
We're singing the song and we're starting to do little spin moves around.
Yeah,
And like,
there's choreography by this point.
He is going to strike the ground again with the sword. So everybody roll Defy Danger. The failures take 5. The mixed results take 2.
All right, 11 to hit damage.
I'm gonna rush him.
Yeah, boy.
I'm gonna attack him with everything I got. 8.
You just got
Okay,
it.
so 9 damage.
I also rolled a 9. So you
Oh,
trade.
dude.
You each take 9 damage. Him and you.
Are you still alive, old man?
I'm looking pretty bloody. I'm looking pretty beat, but there's a fire in my eyes.
So with that, he is going to use the power of darkness to teleport, and he blinks out from the circle of men that Whitmore has around him, and he reappears deeper into the graveyard. And then the green sword he has been floating around and doing the earthquake with gathers up energy and floats above the ground and then slams into the earth, and a sickly green pulse leaves the sword. And a moment later you hear an odd sound as you realize that the dead are digging their way out of the earth, and skeletons, mummified bodies of your ancient relatives
Mama!
out of your family's graveyard at the will of Prince Gloomis.
Start slashing up some Whitmores.
As they're coming out of the ground, I start heading in towards this direction. And, is this all you ever do, Gloomis? Is run away, running away from your problems and running away from me. Fight me like a man.
Roll charisma.
Double 6s.
Okay, I'll say you taunted him, and he blinks again over towards you, and he says, "You're but my puppet, just like the rest of your family is." And he waves as the skeletons start to walk out of the graveyard.
Captain Whitmore, there's no one's butt puppet, and I go to shoot him with my pistol. Or 9.
Mixed result.
I'll spend the ammo.
All right, roll your D.
10.
I gotta shoot him.
Yeah, I'm gonna do 8 again.
Yeah.
Hop on!
Little mini tank action going here.
Yeah.
19 damage.
And he is starting to look.
He took like 6 shots to the face, dude. Shot like sniper rifle.
Zappy time.
Zap him.
Yeah, butter zappy time.
That's a 10. And then for damage, that's an 8.
I've got like a 2-parter here. So I want to kind of pull off my religious knowledge. So I'm going to use my pigments on a headstone. I'm going to run over to something and start to paint holy water of some sort. And then I'm going to pull that into reality. I douse my mandolin with the holy water and I start to play, He is Lord, He is Lord. And I'm trying to turn undead. I don't know what the religion of this world is, but in my mind, we worship a duck. So duck is Lord.
The great rubber duck from the sky.
Make a charisma.
10.
You start to sing this song, and the vibration of the magic and the music takes that holy water that you've thrown all over your instrument and vibrates it into a fine mist that flows forward. And as it starts to hit skeletons, they are almost being pushed by it as they turn away from you, and you turn half the group away from your party.
Duck is Lord, duck Lord.
Gloomis' sister. Whitmore, make a Defy Danger. He is reaching out to you by his toxic tentacles of darkness that leap from his shadow.
Protect me, men. Ooh. Oh, no.
6 damage. And then he has a second action. He's going to start chanting in the ancient language, and he's going to again target Smoky Slim. Smoky Slim, roll a charisma.
So it's gonna be 8.
So you start to feel the ancient languages penetrating your mind, and you are trying to fight it off. Until you are successful at fighting it off, you're going to take -1.
Brodie, how much you give me aid and he gets the damage boost?
I would need to use my arcane art on Slim, and then you aid him. So who knew that Slim was religious? He is Lord. Slim is Lord.
Yeah, you love that duck in the sky, bro.
Been hunting that duck for years.
Oh, and you know I got double 6s. This guy is taking the aid boost and 3d4.
+4 to my attack roll.
Right,
Yeah.
which you have -1 from Gloomis.
Yeah, so
That's okay because I rolled an 11, so that's 10. 22.
oh shit, we
22, you blast him and he takes the shot to his chest and struggling to stand up straight now and is ragingly pissed off.
And Dario's gonna
Bori.
hack and slash again.
I guess I shot.
Okay,
This is really an anti-Dario magic fight. Dario just hack and slash right away. 10.
you coming in, he's fucked up from the wound. He's having trouble like defending himself now.
Max damage with a 10?
Ooh, he is looking really fucked up as you slash into him and pull your sword back. And he looks at you and you can see as he sneers, there's blood in his mouth.
Dario says, tonight death will take you with him.
And he spits blood at you. Has
oh
not-
zap it
Good
up.
boy.
I keep
Bori
hoping
too.
I'll miss,
I think.
but I don't.
You're trying to open a portal?
I got 12. And then that's going to be a 13 damage. And it ignores armor.
All right, so you fire out the arc of energy from the weapon, and it strikes him, and he stumbles to the floor. And with his last death rattle, he tries to reach out at you, Gregg. Roll a Defy Danger.
Oh, no. 11.
The tentacles latch out at you, but you're able to avoid them. He falls to all fours, and he's coughing up blood, and blood starts to pour out of his wounds. He looks up towards Whitmore and says, "You son of a bitch. You're standing in the way of progress."
I am progress. And I pull out my lightning stone dagger. And I thrust it right into his chest.
And it pulses him with energy, and he falls to the ground, not moving. As his body sits there, like there's this magical effects happening as he dies, and like magically falling out of his chest are some of the relics. One is a orb of dark purple energy, and another is a stone tome of the ancient language. Also, the sword that is stuck in the ground loses its magical green effect, and all the skeletons that were kind of wandering around you guys trying to avoid the spell fall to the ground. You hear a familiar voice, Elo, call out to you.
Peelo!
And she runs towards you, and following behind you is a man that looks kind of like Bori, Bowman. And Bori, you recognize him as your son, Bill.
Bill, my boy.
He sees you and he's like, "Hello, father."
Everyone hates Bill.
Buzzkill, Bill, buzzkill.
Well, you've defeated him. Yes, you've done it. And she runs over and she picks up the stone tome and says, "Brother, this is it. This is what our family died to protect."
Well, now that I've gotten my revenge, I'm going back to being a pirate. See you later.
What? Wait, no. You're not a pirate. You're a guardian.
I left that life behind, but I only came back to get revenge. Revenge has been had.
Your whole purpose in life is revenge?
Well, not
That's
anymore.
it? That's all you had? That's all you have?
I'm gonna go live at a casino. Yeah, I'm good.
We're like part of an order. This is a whole thing. I've been spying God knows how long to try to restore that.
No one's stopping you.
And no one's helping me.
You're a strong, independent woman. I believe in you.
Bill turns over to Gloomis's corpse, and Bill picks up the orb of darkness.
I stop him. Sword to his wrist.
Roll.
12.
Your sword gets there before Bill's hand does.
Oh.
Yeah, I stop him and I grab the orb.
I would like to use my prodigy and spout lore on it with a +1.
You've heard of this. This relic has like been around for a long time. Shows up every once in a while, and some maniacal maniac gains a whole bunch of power, but seems to also be driven crazy usually from it. And it has those properties you've seen, like them being able to make shadow clones, teleportation, sucking the life out of people. Very powerful artifact.
This thing's real strong. We should use it.
Yes, we should use it. As we're kind of just like milling about, thinking about what we should be doing with our lives now that we've accomplished our goal. You see Captain Whitmore with the orb and a lightning stone that he has in his pocket, and he's just like kind of rubbing the stone around the orb.
Sexually?
No, like maniacally.
But like sexually.
Captain Whitmore spends his days after the battle totally making over the manor. All of the skills that you see him building up Whitmore Cove and his economy and all that, and taking those skills and putting it into White Springs proper, and really reestablishing himself as a noble area.
Glad to have been a part of the final hunt of your journey.
Slim, it's always a pleasure. The best hunter for hire in all of White Springs.
Smoky Slim always hits his mark.
And I pay good coin for the privilege of aim so true. Here, take this and a certificate for a line of credit at the Whitmore Hotel and Casino. And may we meet again.
2 free coupons to the buffet.
Dear Gregg.
Captain Witty Matidi, I leave you this lightning rod as decoration for your casino in memory of our time together, so that hopefully you don't feel the urge to make new memories and you can leave me alone in East Reef.
The raw passion of your love.
I'll call you.
Please don't. And then I'm just going to go dive in the water and go off on my way.
May the alliance between Light Springs and Atlantis ring true throughout the ages. He's gone.
So I'll approach the captain and say, I'd like to renegotiate my contract. Why don't I take a residence up at the casino? I'll perform on weekends. I'll draw in crowds. I live there for free. What do you think?
And I get to hear my song whenever I want.
New verses are coming to mind as we speak. It's endless how you turned the tides against tyranny on this entire planet. Yeah.
And you know, Commander Heelstorm got a bad rap. Don't go too harsh on her. She tried her best.
She tried her best, but was impotent in the face of your wrath. So that will be reflected. I will not give any concessions there. Please just let me have my artistic license. But I promise you, I'll make you money.
Oh, that be music to me ears.
But you may never call me for shit like this again. Do you understand me, Captain? Never.
Oh, you had to admit, it's a pretty good story.
He blushes and like, yeah, it was a pretty good story. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. And with the last of his paints, he will paint a slightly shinier, larger, better version of the sea captain's whistle. He keeps for himself and walks away, turning into it some of the original melodies we remember.
Warren, where have you been?
I was there the whole time. I was doing stuff. I don't think this works for me anymore. I think it's better in your hands.
And I'm gonna toss him the orb, but also like kind of cast it at the same time. 184.
You accidentally throw a fireball at one of your friends. You were throwing the ball towards Whitmore, so it gets fired at Whitmore.
4 damage.
Boom! A fireball hits you.
It is dangerous.
Yeah, see what I mean? Anyways,
Scratching my neck, kind of like furs sprouting out of there. I'm like,
I gotta go find some cats or something. It was a good battle. I gotta go find my books too. Do you have a library somewhere?
Of course I do. The finest library in all of White Springs. Take anything that captures your fancy.
I'll do that.
Really well. I present Darrio with the Sword of the Dead from Gloomis.
You hear the dead whispering to you as you hold this sword.
Mama?
Specific dead? Yeah.
Papa?
Yeah, it's all sorts of dead. It's your family, it's people you don't know. It is a look into a world that no normal man is supposed to have access.
I drop it, get shocked.
I will pick it up and just kind of attach it to my existing sheath. Do I still see the mark of death on Whitmore?
You look at the corpse of Gloomis, where death has reached a point of completion. And as you look back at Whitmore, it is gone. It is as though he has fulfilled whatever task death needed.
But as you're staring at Captain Whitmore, and he is holding the shadow orb and the lightning rod, you get this very eerie feeling that fate has more in store for Captain Whitmore than death itself could even comprehend.
Yeah, I think that's when Darrio just says very calmly, "You've made right your path with death. I hope that I am not the one to collect your soul."
If you were to be the one, collect my soul, I'm glad it's a friend. And I put my hand out.
And he shakes it. He says, "A friend indeed." As he shakes it and he steps away, he starts to step towards the the ship that he came out on, and you notice that out of his pocket he just has a couple of lightning stones, and he just is fidgeting with them in his fingers.
You guys return to the port of White Springs, and the governor makes landfall, and he tells you of the battle that happened at sea, and you look around and see the destruction wrought from the air bombings and the revelry in everyone's faces as the oppressors are finally routed from your land. The tale that has happened here has a few survivors. Grave Slammer would have heard of this defeat before he got back from the distraction you sent him and chose to retreat back to the mainland. Heelstorm is unconscious outside your house at the end of where we left off. What'd you do with her? You just kill her? Okay, you just slit her throat while she's sleeping?
Like nicely. So Bori Bowman, basically after getting all of his sons in one place, they decided they no longer want him going out everywhere, and they forced him to retire. So he lives out his days at the Pig and Whistle, basically harassing people with his old sailor stories, to the point where nobody even believes that he was even there. You know what I mean? They just think he's like some old coot. He always regretted not dying in that battle.
It was so close. I felt it.
So close.
What does Elo Peelo do?
So I'm going to assume that Whitmore's going to stay at the main manor on White Springs. I'm hoping that Elo Peelo kind of takes over
at the Cove. You move into the cottage on the Cove
and run the casino. And I want to think that I go like hardcore Robert De Niro and break people's legs and shit. When they downstairs, Cristal's Bistro is going to be down there.
It's like added into the restaurant row. She is very happy about that. It's like you have to do a bunch of shit for her.
I'm kind of hoping that I could maybe talk her into bonding with the second person.
Find a chef, get him to bond with them.
Yeah.
You have Cristal bond with a chef and open the bistro. Captain Whitmore.
Using all of my wealth and influence and becoming a living legend.
Basically a god.
Yeah, expand the island's sphere of influence and push the Imperial forces out of our lands. And really like cementing myself, not necessarily the ruler, but definitely so entrenched in the economy and everything. Later years of his life, he's going to spend way too much time experimenting with Lightning Stone and Shadow Orb, and maybe even becoming obsessed with relics like how Gloomis was, and is starting to become a villain himself, whether he knows it or not.
Don't forget to subscribe for more Crispy Cast. Like, leave a comment, and stay crispy.